Okay, so this is a quick overview of how you can use Google Optimize in a very basic sense to test different variations of a page layout using its sort of native um, page editor that's built into Google Optimize. And there's a lot you can do with Google Optimize that's extremely advanced, or testing different segments of users and dynamically serving different messages and content based on different user journeys. But today we're just going to try and have a quick look at the basics. So I'm in my Google Optimize account, and I'm just looking at an experiment I set up earlier, which is just called Homepage Test. To do so, you just sort of create an experiment and go through the onboarding process and filling out the different pieces of information, which are pretty straightforward. So we're going to go into my experiment. We can see here we've got the original page that we're going to test against. I've linked my analytics profile to my optimized container, which is important, obviously, to make sure that we are setting a goal or an objective for this test. Otherwise, there's not a huge amount of purpose to the test. I'm just going to click my staging view of the Sculpt website. And then we can add some objectives in shortly. So to create a variation of the original, you just create variant. Just going to call it variant 1 for simplicity. So let's go into the variant itself and start making some changes. So once it loads up, we should get the Google Optimize page editor, which will allow us to start making changes to the page. It can be a little bit difficult to navigate your way around. There's quite a few things that you can do in here, but we're simply just going to edit the order of the content in the page. So in order to do that, let's just get rid of this little box, and you can see as I'm sort of hovering over different elements, it's highlighting them for me. So one thing that I wanted to test with our homepage was we've sort of got these sort of 4 sequential messages. It'd be interesting to see some of the feedback we've had from clients is that they like to see just what we do quite quickly. So I'm going to try just grabbing this section, and I'm going to move it up and just reorder some of the content so that it's a bit easier to see what we do at a glance, as opposed to having to read all the messages. Again, don't know whether that's going to perform better or worse, hence the test. So I'm going to drop that in there, and you can see now that sort of follows straight away. Same theory again. I'm going to move some of these panels of content up a little bit further up the page, just so that they can be seen a little bit quicker. So there's, clients that we work with, services that we offer, quite important content that could sit quite nicely here. And then the same here, sort of the website platforms that we work with are quite an important part of our business, sort of core service that we offer. So again, let's try and move them up the page a little bit more. I mean, the notion of sort of above the fold content doesn't really exist anymore. People sort of used to sort of infinite scrolling, but however, it's always good to test. So I'm happy with that page layout. Let's see how that performs against the original. So simply, once you've dragged and reordered your content, you can just click save and done. It'll take us back to the Google Optimize container, where we should be able to see a preview. So you can just click on preview options, just click share preview. It'll give you a link, which is quite useful because you can send that to other people in your business to look at the layout that you've changed, maybe approve it if you need to go through that process. Once you're in the preview mode, it'll let you know. Click through to the website, and it should serve me a different variation of the page, which again will start reporting against which one of these pages performs best. Now, when we sort of talk about which performs best, let's go back to our experiment. Let's add an objective. Let's just choose from our list of objectives that exists in analytics. Form submission is going to be our be all and end all. So we're just going to add a description here. So test page variation for homepage, objective to increase form submissions. Although just click save, and then that will start to push push that variation live. And when we can see here, we've got a 50-50 split of traffic. So 50% will see the original, 50% will see the variant one. That data around which variation is performing best will feed into analytics as well as be available in the interface itself. We can change that weighting as a custom if we wanted to only change. We want, we've got a lot of traffic and it's potentially quite a vast change that we're serving as a variant. So we don't necessarily want to test 50% of our visitors. So let's just do, maybe 90-10, where only 10% will see the first variation. If you've got a lot of traffic, it may be that you get a result a lot quicker. Obviously, we don't have thousands and thousands of visitors every day on the Sculpt site. So 50-50 works for us. Plus the variation that we've served isn't massively different, but you can play with that and save it and so on and so forth. And then that will serve it up there. So hopefully that's an insight into how you can go about doing some testing yourself quite quickly. And obviously as you lead on to more advanced stuff, get in touch and we can take you through our testing strategy.